Jeff Mee. Jeff is the Director of Global Strategy at Huobi Group, which is part of the Huobi Crypto Exchange, one of the largest crypto exchanges globally, and also one of the exchanges that is very focused on making sure that cryptocurrencies are very safe, secure against hacking. So he's going to be talking to us today about what keeps a cryptocurrency exchange secure. I don't know, but Jeff will presently tell us about what keeps a cryptocurrency exchange secure. So, grab a coffee, grab anything, and welcome Jeff to as our first guest today.
Thank you so much. Pretty excited to be here.
Take it away.
Okay, so yeah, thank you so much for the intro. My name is Jeff Mee. I'm the Director of Global Strategy at Huobi Global. And what the Director of Global Strategy means is really about expanding. It's really about how we can enter markets around the world. It's really about finding where our users are, how do we get to our users, what our users want. And of course, in lieu of today's theme, it's about how to keep our users safe, right? A lot of times, when dealing with a cryptocurrency exchange, whether it's dealing with NFTs or trading or derivatives or anything like that, you're dealing with lots of large amounts of money, right? Especially users' money, users' assets. So we really focus a lot on security, on how to keep everyone safe, how to keep the operation going. Because everyone knows if you get hacked, you don't want to trade anymore on Huobi. So we want to keep that first. Okay. So I'll go ahead. Let's talk a little bit about Huobi Group. Okay. Huobi Group was founded in 2013. And at first we were just an exchange, right? Just literally a place where you can buy and sell crypto or Bitcoin or Ethereum, right? And then afterwards, because Huobi is kind of so early on, we've actually begun to develop ourselves kind of as an ecosystem, right? Even starting in 2013, there wasn't too much going on I mean, it was still a very new space, right? There wasn't really trustworthy wallets. There's not like layer 2 chains. I mean, they're all there, but they're not very developed, right? So what we want to do is we want to kind of create an entire ecosystem, how we can have all these different business lines cooperate with each other and work with each other to develop an entire full suite of products and services and, security protocols and governance routines to kind of make the entire blockchain and crypto ecosystem in the world go forward, right? So that's what we're dedicated on, building this ecosystem, fostering upstream and downstream industry, and then kind of creating this economy. All right, that's what Huobi has been focused on. Okay, I won't talk too much about Huobi, but just a little bit. I want to share this timeline with you. It's kind of how we progressed. I know being a almost 9-year exchange now, we were early in the game, right? There was a lot of things a lot of uncertainties at the time that Huobi kind of worked with a lot of regulators, a lot of innovative, incubators, accelerators, a lot of projects. We kind of developed this entire path or development path for. We can say that we influence what blockchain is today. All right. A couple milestones we want to say is it's all about regulatory, it's about licenses, it's about working with different countries' governments to kind of create this partnership, right? This collaboration to develop future policies for crypto. So a lot of this timeline you can see is about that. It's about creating these regulations, creating these new policies, and creating what might keep users safe, right? Because at the end of the day, government regulation, people kind of see that as the evil, right? But actually that's there to protect users. It's there to kind of facilitate the future of blockchain, right? Regulation can really take blockchain and cryptocurrency to the next level. So a lot of this timeline, I'll share the deck with everyone later, is really revolved around that and working with kind of security management systems, with Japan and Korea and the US and getting those licenses, okay? Okay, so a little bit about our business. I mentioned earlier, Huobi is not just an exchange. I mean, of course, we're known to be an exchange, but there's actually a lot of different products out there, right? We have an NFT marketplace. We have wallets. We're working with layer 2 solutions, public chains, compliance systems, risk management. We've been working with local police authorities to kind of trace money, to look for, AML type stuff out there. So Huobi is really, what we want to say is we keep developing and our products keep changing because the climate keeps changing, right? And as the climate keeps changing, then there needs to be new security protocols and new security systems in place to protect, right? So for example, with NFTs right now, or Web3, this is kind of like the hot topic, the hot industry that a lot of people are focused on. With this development, we also need to develop new security measures and new security protocols to protect people in this space as well. And then we can see with NFTs, it grew super rapidly. And then with that, there's also a lot of breaches, a lot of hacks, a lot of kind of rug pull type things going on, right? So then with that changing, we always kind of focus on that as well. Okay. Okay, so let's get to today's presentation. Enough about Huobi. Huobi is it's a long time exchange, and one thing that we pride ourselves on is we never been hacked, right? We've never been hacked since 2013. There's been really small instances, but there hasn't been any major hacks, right? So the reason for that is we focus a lot on security. We have a quite large team dedicated just to security. We have a research team also focusing just on security measures and protocols. And that's kind of like one thing that we say is our core model, right? It's about creating this safe environment for users to feel comfortable to trade in, right? I know a lot of our competitors, they may focus a lot on marketing, they may focus a lot on sponsorships. Of course, we think those are very important, but in the early days, starting from 2013, we dedicated more of our resources on crypto security and blockchain security. Okay, so let's talk about popularity. As everyone can see now, crypto is really becoming more mainstream, right? There's normal celebrities promoting crypto. People are talking about it. Most people have heard of what a Bitcoin is now, right? And with this popularity, of course, that's good for the industry, but it brings a lot of new users in. And there's two types of users that we're bringing in now. One is with institutional interest. So with institutional users, they're a little bit more secure, they're more professional, they kind of know what they're getting into, especially with large institutions such as banks or funds. They have their own security teams and their own compliance teams to kind of look through everything and do their own security assessment. But then one thing that we have to protect is the retail investors, right? Retail investors are really what we're worried about, right? A lot of people may say, it's cool to buy a Bitcoin, right? I want to own a Bitcoin. However, they kind of forget that they think that Bitcoin and NFTs are like this new, cool, fun thing, but they kind of forget that actually these are investments, right? And not every single person is educated or is accustomed or familiar with investing, right? So it's kind of our job to educate users, to teach them about the risks involved, right? Even with operational risk, for example, just buying a Bitcoin or changing, or for example, transferring some kind of crypto to your friend, right? There could be risk involved. Or for example, setting up an exchange or a KYC or an account or mining or anything like that. There's just a myriad of risks that an average retail user may face. So then with this, we really focus on how do we keep this secure? How do we keep users protected? Okay, and that kind of sets the scene of kind of our stage for today. Okay, so let's talk about hacks. And let me get a sip of water. The year 2018 was kind of known as the golden year for hacks, right? $1.7 billion in cryptocurrency was stolen. About 950 million were from exchanges. And then this was a year where people started looking like, oh, are exchanges safe places to hold your coins, right? A lot of the thefts were from the early exchanges in Japan and Korea. And then we've kind of learned a lot of insights from these. But that was kind of the year that people started getting really focusing on, okay, regulation got in, people turned their eyes to crypto, like, okay, what is really going on here? How safe really are these exchanges? Is our money safe with them? Okay. So we kind of highlight this here because a lot of things happen during this time, and I'll go over it in the next slide. These are three major ones. For one, BitGrail, and this is in order of the amount stolen. BitGrail had 146 million hacked, right? And of course, all these dollar amounts were back then, right? So you can imagine the amount of Bitcoin or Ethereum being stolen, because the prices back then, if we convert it to today's prices, is going to be a lot much higher. Qcoin had 281 million stolen. And then one of the biggest ones, obviously the one that everyone knows about, is the Mt. Gox event, right? $450 million was stolen in Bitcoin. And that kind of entirely collapsed exchange. With the Qcoin and BitGrail hacks, a lot was returned. But with the Mt. Gox, even till today, some people still talk about this hidden treasure out there somewhere, right? There's just, we want to go look for it. We want to try kind of use some bounty hunters to get it back. But yeah, a lot of this money has not been returned, okay? And then going forward, still in order of the dollar amount stolen, CoinCheck had $534 million stolen. This was in January 2018, and that was from a Japanese exchange. Finally, they traced the money back, and a lot of customers were reimbursed. And then the last one was the Poly Network. That was a huge one with $610 million hacked, okay? So the Poly Network one actually was pretty interesting because they're not actually an exchange, but they're a DeFi network, right? So then this kind of sets the stage to today, right? A lot of people are working with decentralized exchanges, decentralized protocols, and it also, raises the need and the alert to be secure on these aspects too. But yeah, we'll stick to exchanges today. But the Poly Network one is a quite notable one. Okay, going forward, We talked about a large single transaction stolen. A South Korean exchange was hit with almost $50 million in a single transaction. And it was pretty much the crypto was moved to other wallets in the instance of the attack, right? So a lot that we learned from this was, okay, maybe we don't want to want to have too much funds on an exchange hot wallet because they can easily be stolen in just like this in one single instance, right? So all of these kind of what we do at Huobi with our research team, with our security research team, is we analyze every single one of these attacks. Right, we look for loopholes. We look for reasons where we can kind of patch these holes or things that we can do to adapt. Right, so each of these kind of teaches us, or not just us, but other exchanges as well. What we need to be proceeding on in the future, and what kind of big weak points there are. Okay. Okay. So going forward, we talked about what kind of hacks happen, right? And now let's do a little bit of research of how these attacks happen. Okay. So for one, these four kind of pillars are what hackers or malicious individuals focus on, right? Obviously, one is the exchange. So on exchange, there's hot wallets, there's data breaches, there's account thefts, and then even insiders. One big thing is, especially with exchange turnover, right? With the big exchanges such as Binance, KuCoin, Huobi, OKEX at that time, the big four, there's a lot of turnover between exchanges. Employees and individuals are moving from exchange to exchange. So at that time, there was actually a lot of insider theft, right? And that was something that afterwards, a lot of our internal operations we had to focus on. Okay. The other one that hackers focus on would be with wallets. Okay. So with wallets, you're talking about private keys. You're talking about people actually stealing your secret codes, account theft. They have wallet bugs. There's ways to trick people to, be transferring money or depositing money into wrong addresses. And there's that. Okay. The last part, or the next one, is going to be on the actual blockchain. So this is a little bit harder. This is talking about the actual technology. We have transaction rollbacks, there's crowding attacks, and then a lot of different bugs can be put on different chains. And the last one is with smart contracts, right? So this is in the development phase. In the development phase, this is why, a lot of code audit firms are doing well lately, right? Any new project has to go through a very meticulous and very comprehensive audit. And then that can help, the inherent code from being hacked by, some scams or phishing attacks or anything like that. Okay. And I want to talk about this quote by Dr. Amber Goddard. It's talking about open source technology. It's talking about the double-edged sword of open source technology. Open source technology is good because it's open, right? Everyone can share their insights, share their development, right? And it's because of this, we think it's that blockchain is proceeding so fast. It's because everything is not a secret, right? If I want to work on something, I don't have to start from zero. I can start with this pre-made or pre-developed thing that someone else did, and then build on that and increase it, improve it. Okay, so that's the beauty of open source technology. And I think, blockchain is so successful today and moving at such a fast pace because it's open source, because you have this area where everyone can be sharing their insights, sharing their brain, right? They could be brainstorming, they can be talking to each other. That's the beauty of it, right? But at the same time, the flip side is open source means your code is out there, right? People can be, other geniuses, other smart individuals can be looking at your code, looking at your weaknesses, right? There can be full teams looking at how to attack you, right? So this is like the beauty of this ecosystem, right? Like, is it a healthy ecosystem? At the same time, can we be building and can we be developing at the same time? Can we be preventing ourselves from negative attacks? Right, so that's one thing that we have to keep thinking about, right? By keeping things open source, what is really, the core that we need to focus on? And actually, with the exchange, a lot of our, more confidential security obviously is not open source. Like, we have to keep it ourselves to protect our users. But some of the stuff we use is going to be shared and use open source technology. Okay. This is just some other types of attacks: on-chain attacks, APT attacks, DDoS attacks, and of course phishing attacks. Right? Phishing attacks. Why we mention this is actually some of these attacks. They are with phishing attacks. You can see a lot of these hackers. They're not always these super geniuses wearing anon masks and black hoods, hidden somewhere in a factory. A lot of these are just basic phishing attacks, so that's why we see that user education is very important because, with phishing attacks, you don't really need like super crazy technology or need to be some super hacker genius, evil villain. You can just really, prevent yourself from these attacks by educating yourself. So actually, that's one thing that Huobi does with Huobi Learn and some of our emails. We want to really show people that you can avoid a lot of these dangerous situations if you just learn the product a little bit better. Okay. All right. So exchange security, let's talk about what we do at Huobi, right? For us, we have an individual, a professional security team. They really focus on blockchain, the wallet security. Like we said earlier, they kind of research and investigate all the different attacks that happened before. And then we have a lot of risk control measures. I won't say exactly, but I would say we have a lot of employees, a significant portion of our team dedicated to security, all day. Okay. And then what we do is with wallets, we separate it. It's always it's a very basic idea, right? Don't keep all your eggs in one basket, right? So we have a lot of wallets distributed through different servers. We have hot wallets, cold wallets. We just don't keep all the assets in one place, right? And then we also have multiple backups with private keys. With private keys, sometimes we give the owner, the user, the ownership of the private keys. We don't even know what the private keys are. Sometimes, if available, we house it for them, right? If they trust us, our technology, then we can also house it for our users. So with private keys, we have 15 different controllers, and then there's always going to be multiple people or multiple person authentications, right? So not one person has the entire control or entire authority to authorize anything. Okay. And then also, we also have a 20,000 BTC fund. Actually, I think this number has gone up since then, but it's kind of our insurance fund, right? With emergency situations, if something crazy happens to the user, if it's something on our end, of course, you're fully insured, right? We're going to pay you back or reimburse you on the issue that happened. Okay. All right. So yeah, these are just, I guess, core principles, right, about what exchanges should be doing. Core principles on, what we should focus on, right? Blockchain security, wallet management, user asset protection, right? Application security. So blockchain security is about security on the chain. Wallet management is two things. It's one is what we do on the technical side with wallets, and two is about coaching and user education on how they can manage their own private keys, their own wallets, right? Even if it's something simple like, like literally where to put it, right? Or something even more advanced like, setting a more complicated private key or something like that. User asset protection. This is just about user security, and then application security can be like, for example, logging in and out of our app, our website. How to prevent from fake pages, phishing pages, stuff like that. And then the last is resilience against hacker organizations. So this is something actually kind of new that we're doing. It's really, instead of being on the defense, it's kind of we play offense, right? We actually have people out there talking to governments. We're working with police organizations and anti-money laundering organizations, and we're seeing what is out there. How can we kind of figure out what's there first, and then we could create the preventative measure, right? So it's about being more proactive. Okay. And then the last thing is one thing that we also want to strive towards is information sharing within the industry, right? I know crypto is quite a competitive space. Every exchange is doing all these different, sponsorships and marketing campaigns and everything. Everyone wants to be better than the other exchange, right? But I think one part is at the end of the day, we all have the same goal, right? To develop the blockchain ecosystem as a whole. So I think that, we believe at Huobi that we want to share information, right? Things that we find, we're happy to share with other exchanges so they can protect their users, right? So in the end, if more users, believe in blockchain and crypto and they're trading and they're owning digital assets, that's greater. That's for the greater good, right? So we hope that, we keep these conversations going, even like at events like today, always be open and sharing with each other, with our competitors, about what the insights that we learn. Okay. And then, so then these are just some basic to-dos, basic best practices about your wallets. Like I mentioned earlier, a lot of this hacks, a lot of these assets gone missing is not from some super crazy villain genius hacker, right? It's really just about users protecting their own assets, right? So a lot of times, we're trading, even myself, we kind of forget these best practices. We just kind of take it for granted, right? But it's just about, ensuring the security, even with your email access, a lot of your two-factor authentications, it's easier to maybe hack your email account than, for example, an exchange account, right? So it's about securing your assets, securing your passwords on those email accounts. When choosing investment institutions, I think one thing that people got to think about is an exchange is different than trading stocks, right? The stock, when you trade stocks, you have a bank, right? You have a huge centralized bank to kind of back you, to kind of protect you, right? There's like, for example, in America, there's the FDIC that kind of can protect and insure some of your assets, right? But with an exchange, it's a little bit different, right? So it's like a user should do enough due diligence before going on and creating an account and trading on an exchange. I think right now, a lot of times, a lot of users, traders, they focus on one thing, right? I want to find the next super magical coin that I can buy and go 100x, right? And some of these smaller token projects might be on, less large or less, comprehensive exchanges, right? So then with these smaller exchanges, they list these like super, moon tokens, but then there should be some kind of due diligence that the user does before, depositing money in exchange. A lot of times with these small exchanges, you put your money in and it's gone. You can't withdraw or something like that, right? So a lot of we urge users, do your research, look at our guides, look at our YouTube videos, do some research before getting on the exchange. The other stuff is just really, about general best practices about keeping your wallet safe. Okay. And then, I think just one thing we want to make sure is, again, to reiterate about security, nothing's foolproof, right? I mean, a lot of people think if you put it on, actual hardware wallet, you're safe forever, right? The only way is if you lose it in a fire or you actually just lose it, right? But actually, with these really advanced phishing attacks, we've seen top hardware wallet companies, they get data breaches, people reach out to the users, and they even mail them, these fake like USB key, like hardware wallets. They mail it to the users and they say, okay, you load your money on here. But actually, it's just a really advanced phishing attack. So we urge a lot of our users that if when in doubt, contact customer service. I mean, whether it's, like for us, and I know with our competitors as well, whether it's on Telegram or Discord or emailing us or actually going on the customer service in our app, it's the best way to protect yourself, to actually talk to an actual individual that might work at Huobi. And of course, there's a lot of fake customer service individuals as well. So again, I would say diversify risk, right? Don't just talk to one customer service representative and finish up there. Maybe make a couple calls, right? Maybe check out a couple different channels, maybe on Discord and on the app. That way you can protect yourself better. Okay. So then, just generally, crypto Chainalysis, crypto crime report, crypto crime has been going up, but actually it's not catching up to the industry. So the industry as a whole, crypto has gone up 567% from 2020, right? However, crime has only gone up 79%. I mean, it's good, right? It's a good thing. It's like the bad people, the evildoers, are not working as fast as the good people, right? The good technology that's gone out there. Of course, 79% is still not a low number, right? There's still a significant amount of crypto crime out there. But it's just good to know that the industry is growing, and as we're growing, we're also learning from the past. We're learning from our mistakes, and it's helping lower crypto crime a little bit. Okay. And then, this just kind of shows that the current status, exchanges are, so before, if we're talking about this a couple years ago, most of the thefts and most of the cryptocurrencies lost or stolen would be found on exchanges. And actually, as you can see from the map, right here in the first one, centralized exchanges, it's been around the same, right? Or close to $500 million of value stolen, right? However, if we look at DeFi protocols, it's been increased by 50x, right? A lot of the crimes now are on these decentralized protocols, layer 2 protocols. This is the space now where people are easily targeted. And this kind of goes back to our open source thing, right? Kind of back to the thing where people are looking for these new innovative things in crypto, right? But these new innovative technologies might not be the most secure, right? People are building and developing at such a fast pace, which is good. But a lot of times they're not thinking about the security, right? They're thinking about what's the fastest way to develop, how to get my product out there, how to get my product in the hands of users, how do I get to start this product running? But they're not really, taking the time to build every single security measure along the way to protect users, right? So again, we want users to just be careful, right? Of course, we go into crypto because we do want to try all these fun, innovative new products. However, you just got to stay safe throughout the way. And the data shows there's just been so much theft in the DeFi world. Obviously, I'm bullish. I think DeFi is the future, but you still need to be careful. Okay. And I think the last thing is, it's just a shout out. Today we talked about centralized exchanges. We talked about, what we kind of do, our protocols, whether it's backend infrastructure, user education, or a lot of research involved. but actually that's just with centralized exchanges. The future is going to be with DeFi, right? Decentralized, all these decentralized applications and protocols. And then one thing we want to say is just like the Poly network hack. The hackers they hacked a lot of different chains, but however, Huobi's public chain Heko was actually unaffected, and the hacker even gave us a shout out, said to Heko and Huobi, and said, you're the only one that couldn't get it through, right? So this is just a shout out to ourselves, but no, we want to say that we are developing in the DeFi space as well, right? As you can see from the other chart, most of the hacks are happening in DeFi, so that's where we want to focus our attention on going forward. That's where the people want to play. That's where people want to be trading and investing. That's where we want to keep you guys protected as well. Okay, so I think I went a little ahead of time, but I would love to open up the floor for any questions.
I have a question for you. What is the one most important thing for an exchange to say that we are truly secure? Because a lot of people, when they talk about their money in crypto exchanges, the first thing they ask me is, what about security? So if you were going to say one thing, I mean, you're giving us a great session, but if you're going to give us one thing to take home with to make us feel comfortable, what would it be?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I guess how we judge ourselves, right? We do a lot of surveys. And we see how people feel, right? We ask them, which exchanges do you feel comfortable at, right? And I think the one thing is, the one word to your question is track record. That's what we pride ourselves, track record, right? We've never been hacked in 9 years. I think we're going to keep going that way. I think people feel comfortable. It's all about, they see Huobi. We've been around. I mean, especially in the Asian region, right? They see us been around, and they see that we actually do be proactive, and we do a lot of development on our security measures. And I think the track record shows that. So that's my quick answer. But how we evaluate ourselves is we really talk about. We have a lot of surveys, and we really ask people, like, where do you feel comfortable with? Do you feel comfortable keeping your money on our exchange or not? Right? It's actually just a simple question like that. And then from our survey results, we actually see that people do feel comfortable with Huobi, and that keeps us happy.
Awesome. So customer engagement and getting feedback from the customer, but most importantly, interacting with them to allow them know that you're consistently looking out for them by operating and improving your security.
Yeah, definitely. And we hold a lot of hackathons too. Like we have bug bounty programs. We want you to hack us. We want to find out where our mistakes are and want to reward you.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I'll take you up on that one. Jeff, thank you very much. We really, really enjoyed your session. And I'm sure there's a lot of questions that are going to come to you. Please stay in the lobby and try to see if you can pick up some of those questions. But I think one of the things that I've gotten out of this is, the track record speaks for itself. When an exchange says that we are truly dedicated to providing efficient service, but more importantly, a service that's secure. And that's probably one of the things that I got from listening to you today. Thank you, and we will see you soon.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been wonderful.